Right. Now we move on to the biggie for this weekend. You know, the battle of the massive underachievers, which will be Manchester United at home at Old Trafford to the team I support, Tottenham Hotspur. You know, the two clubs collectively we could go on about for ages this season and how they've underachieved. You know, poor performances, some great performances. You know, individual players, have they performed or not? We could go on forever. But it's just for me to preview the game and to give a prediction. So again, like I normally do, we're going to move on to the hosts first, which is Man United. You know, at the beginning of the season, without Ronaldo, you kind of looked and thought Man United should be set for a top four finish. Where, you know, with Sancho coming in, you know, regardless of what you thought of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he did steady a ship that was rocking. You know, but the minute that they signed Ronaldo last minute and took him away from Man City, everybody, and myself, you know, thinking that Man United should be pushing for the title. If they don't push for the title and fall short, top four without question. But they've underachieved. You know, Man United fans effectively were saying it was down to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They bring in an astute coach in Ralf Rangnick, and not really much has changed. You know, I was saying to a family member of mine that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was getting the same results and the same performances as Ralf Rangnick, he'd be getting followed home, he'd be getting death threats and all sorts, but Rangnick seems to be getting plaudits for getting the same sort of performances and results, and for me, I don't think it's either coach's fault. I think it's the players, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he was getting the results, everybody was saying it's not the coach, it was the players. You know, you had Bruno Fernandes banging in goals, Cavani was instrumental, you know, Rashford. You know, there was players there that were scoring goals, but everybody seemed to think it was the individual. So if the individual is getting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the muck, then that individual should continue to do it regardless of what Solskjaer does. Now Solskjaer's gone, Rangnick's come in, and a lot of these players, for me, have got worse. You know, can't remember the last time Ronaldo scored. Bruno Fernandes, we were talking about him scoring goals at the rate of Frank Lampard, and he can't score or assist at the minute. The only shining light at United is Jadon Sancho. You know, always been one of my favourite players since he stepped onto the scene. You know, Dortmund, he was brilliant, and United is starting to show what type of a player that he really can be. So, you know, you're looking at Man United and you're thinking, you know, put the excuses aside, put everything aside. This is a big game because United, even if they were to win this game, it's very difficult for them to go and catch Arsenal, but then if they go and lose or draw the game tomorrow evening, then they might as well call it a day. So, you know, United need to, you know, the players need to look at themselves, you know, whether they think that Rangnick is the answer or not, you know, they need to look at themselves, realise that they're playing for a massive club in Manchester United, and you can't just, you know, throwing your toys out the pram because it's an expectant club with a fan base that goes worldwide. You know, there's not many clubs bigger. So that's my take on United in a snapshot. I'll move on to Tottenham. Again, problems left, right and centre from the beginning of the season. It feels like, you know, as a Spurs fan, it feels like we've had 3 seasons in one because, you know, it feels like ages ago that Nuno was with us. You know, I felt sorry for him because he just got thrown under the bus by Daniel Levy. There's players that have come and gone. You know, you had Ndombele, Dele Alli, you know, the Celso, they've all gone, and it feels like they left last season, but they left, you know, only a few months ago because there's so much that's gone on at Spurs. You know, it feels like Harry Kane had a bad last season, and now he's having a good one. But you know, in the round, Conte is a coach that needs better players. You know, he's brought in Kuzelewski and Bentancur and proved that, you know, with the players that I want to bring in, we can have an influence, but then there's still some deadwood that we've got. In terms of form, our away form's been very up and down. You know, I think we've won one, lost one, won one, lost one. So, you know, we beat Man City, beat Leeds, but then we also lost to Middlesbrough and we lost to Burnley. So, very up and down. You know, if you follow the form book, you'd like to think that it's just going to be another W for Tottenham if it's that case, but we all know the form book gets thrown in the bin the minute there's a big game. Both clubs will be looking at this thinking they need to win, but because it will be a very cagey game where neither team wants to lose, I'm going with a 2-2. You know, Man United haven't been brilliant at home. You know, they drew 0-0 with Watford. The last one they won at home was on the 15th, 2-0 to Brighton, and Brighton played very well that game, even though they're off form. And our form in general is up and down, left and right. You don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up. You don't know what Harry Kane's going to turn up. So I think Harry Kane will turn up tomorrow because he's back to the Harry Kane that we all know. Son needs to step up. As much as he scored a goal the other day, it's like he's lost power in his shooting. He looks tired, lethargic. He looks fed up for some reason, even though him and Kane are providing goals consistently for each other. So I think Kane will get on the score sheet. If I was going to say a first goal scorer or goal scorer of any time, from a Tottenham perspective, Harry Kane. For United, I think if Ronaldo is to get minutes, I think he'll score because he'll be frustrated, and we all know that I can just see Ronaldo celebrating at some point in the game and possibly taking his top off, because we all know Tottenham Hotspur are a club that, if there's a player off form, if there's a team off form, come and play Spurs and you'll get what you want. We found it with Wolves. They couldn't score more than one goal. They played Tottenham and beat them 2-0 away. Arsenal were in bad form, earlier in the season. What happens? They turn us over in the North London derby. So I think for Spurs, has to be a win, because if it's a win, then it turns our season around, and then it's pretty much, looking like Tottenham and Arsenal battling it out for top four. A draw suits Arsenal down to a T. Man United win is still probably a foregone conclusion for top four, unless they can get a really good form going. So I think 2-2. It'll be Desmond tomorrow. Doesn't really suit either team, but